Hello there. Welcome to, I'll just say a very special episode of Into the Aether. It's going to be a quick one, probably. I'll even call it Into the Aether Mini.
Oh, wow.
A partner showcase. We wanted to talk about the Nintendo Direct Mini that happened today. We've been kind of talking openly about the fact that there's been a rumor that there was going to be a Nintendo Direct this week for a while, because I feel like everyone's just kind of known it since like the Summer Games Fest stuff was happening.
Yeah.
I think all signs were pointing to it being on the 29th, which is a Wednesday, but instead it was today, Tuesday, June 28th. And it was a partner direct specifically. So really no first party stuff, with weird exceptions. There were two weird exceptions. I'll just get them out of the way real quick. Number one being the Mario vs. Rabbids sequel that's coming out.
Oh, yeah. I guess it's kind of Ubisoft, but it's like on the fence. Yeah.
It's like that halfway point. And then also there was like a little bit about Fire Emblem Warriors, which again, technically like Koei Tecmo, I guess. So really skirting that line. But that having been said, there's a bunch of stuff in here. Some stuff that is like absolutely huge for you and me specifically.
Yeah.
So you want to go through it? How'd you feel about it overall?
I'd love to. It was fun. I mean, I think like once I knew it was third party only or partners rather, the two dreams were, of course, Silk Song and a later announcement, which we'll get to. Yeah. So the fact that we got one, I'm elated. Totally. I was actually much more emotional at that announcement than I thought I would be, given I already have all three games and I've played them all. But we'll talk about it later. But yeah, I thought it was really good. I mean, I think like I do kind of like these events sort of level setting at the top. Like Capcom at their event was like, this is all going to be stuff we've already announced. It's just a closer look. Yeah. And here it's like, no, it's just third party or partners. So there's not like Breath of the Wild 3 trending the minute they announce something, I think it's good to, I like Nintendo's sort of, even though they're shrouded in mystery in all other ways, when they announce an event, you actually do kind of know what you're getting into, which I appreciate.
Yeah. It's nice. It's a nice vibe. And I do think though, weirdly enough, coming hot off the heels of all of the Summer Games Fest stuff, the two things you and I were most excited about were both things that would be third party announcements. Coming off of the Xbox event. So my like best case scenario version of this event didn't get wavered at all based on the idea of it being a partner showcase. But let's get into it, because honestly, one of the first announcements, the second announcement specifically, was wild. So let's fly through the first one. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. We just saw a new trailer for it. That's coming soon.
Looks very cool. Yeah.
It's June 30th. It looks awesome. Everything I've seen points to it being, like about as big as the base game, which is sick. It looks great.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was larger even, because I feel like when Rise first came out, the single player campaign kind of ended abruptly. Yeah. So I imagine this might even be, and who knows, but either way, it's a big update. It's like a second game essentially. Yeah. From what it looks like.
It looks honestly great. It does look like they're doing a little bit more story focus also, which is funny. I'm very interested to see like how they're gonna continue the story.
Yeah, there were like dramatic shots of characters who have only said like good morning to me. I'm like, who is this?
But whatever. That's coming soon. It's coming so soon. It's like this week. I have the demo downloaded. There's a demo available now. I have it and I just haven't played it. And at this point it's so late that I'm like, I'll just play it when it comes out. Like I'll play the full thing.
That's kind of how I feel.
It's a no-brainer pickup for me.
A demo. Yeah, although that original demo for Rise like really sold me on it.
Totally.
So I think it's cool that they allow a demo for this. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited for Monster Hunter Summer. Is all I'm saying. The second announcement. This is the reason I really wanted to record. As much as I love the last announcement, like this one, like we have been talking about this on the show for about 2 to 2.5 years as a thing that we both wanted. And it almost felt like, because the ongoing goof is that the things we say on Into the Aether sometimes happen. And I always feel like the side goof has been like, Nier Automata is never coming to Switch, so all of our other things come true. Like we had to sacrifice one
trade-off,
thing. Yeah. The rabbit's paw situation. And yet here we are. Nier Automata, the End of Yorha edition, is coming on October 6th to Nintendo Switch. And my biggest concern right when they announced it went out the window, thank God. I was worried that it was going to be a cloud version, and it seems like it's an actual port.
Yeah, I was hopeful that it would run okay on Switch, just because like it looks good on the PS4, but it's definitely like Dreamcast-ish in some of the environments. So like I imagine like the big thing is like there's often a lot of stuff on screen, and there's a lot of like without spoiling the game, there's a lot of like transitions between like areas and points of view. So I'm like, that might cause the Switch to like self-destruct, but it seems to be good. I'm really curious what this subtitle is implying, the end of Yorha. I mean, I imagine on a surface level, it might just be like, this is the last sort of re-release of the game.
Yeah.
And there is extra content. There's like weird hats and masks you can unlock, which is kind of sick. I'm into it. I'll probably play it again. I mean, I this is one of my favorite games of all time, so I will probably get it and finish it again. So.
Yeah, we have been asking for this for so long that it would be like an absolute actual crime. We would be arrested for not buying it, I think. So
also knowing Yoko Taro, I'm sure there's like some weird canon thing that's only in this version.
Yeah,
like there's like an interview with him at the end where he tells you the meaning of life, but like it's a joke.
A new ending for W that like is Waluigi focused.
If any game is going to have Waluigi in it, it's probably the end of Yorha. So I'm really excited for it. And also, I mean, a lot of these things, I'm just excited for my friends who only have Switches to be able to play a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so it's great. I'm glad a lot of these like hits from other consoles are making their way to Switch. I mean, it's kind of incredible. Like as much as there have been like really obvious ports that people have been waiting to come to Switch for forever. More on that soon. The third party support of the Switch, I think, is like the most Nintendo has ever had. It's kind of, it's almost easy to take for granted when it's like you can play Dragon's Dogma and Nier Automata on your Switch now. That is pretty cool. That's a cool reality to be in.
Yeah, it's funny because you and I are recording this a couple days after recording the Nintendo DS episode, in which we also talked about like that thing was so successful that the third party support was absolutely wild. Very different situation here where it's like, let's port everything from the past 6 or 7 years onto the Switch.
Yeah.
And it's great that it's happening. And giving things like Nier Automata, which are, you know, both wildly successful, to be clear, like sold millions of units, is like a game that people love. But still somehow is flying under the radar. You know, it's great to give it a second life. I feel the same way about like 13 Sentinels. You know, that was another one that I was so glad to see ported to Switch so more people get their hands on it. Yeah, I mean, this is also an edition that comes with all of the DLC that came from all of the other editions, which is great. So it really does seem like the final all-in-one package, which is cool. I'm wondering if this version will also make its way to consoles as well. So if you have like the complete edition on Xbox or something, if you'll also, you know, get a free download with this stuff or not.
Yeah, I wonder. That would be kind of ironic if like the definitive version landed on Switch. That
only,
you know, only, yeah. I imagine it will probably. I feel like I could see a reality in which it's like a Game Pass thing eventually.
Yeah,
that feels like it makes sense. So
yeah. But I did yell when they announced this, just to be clear.
Yeah, I didn't even expect it. Like this wasn't even like there are some that are on the fence of being a joke and real, and this is like not even a possibility in my head. Yeah. So this is very exciting.
So I'm wondering what we're not going to get now that we want because of this. I'm thinking
Silk Song is never
Silk Song is never going to Switch.
Yeah, no, it's just not coming out anymore.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, it just ceases to exist. And if you ask people about it, they'll slowly start going, "What? What do you mean? There's no sequel." Yeah. And then there's no history of it either. It just was a dream that you had. Yeah.
This is like an old shitty boss I had who was trying to remove all traces of our company off of the internet, and he was like, "How much do you think I'd have to pay to do that? Do I pay Google?" And I was like, "Man, that's not a thing you can do. And also, do you not understand how sketchy that is?"
Asking Google to delete yourself weirdly is a spoiler for Nier Automata, so maybe we should cut that
out. Up next. A game from the team behind Sayonara Wild Hearts, which is pretty exciting. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, which honestly, again, speaking of the Nintendo DS, looks like a game that could have been out on the Nintendo DS. Very like visual
Hotel
novel,
Dusk.
Like puzzle solving, adventure game, point and click kind of hybrid thing. Very stylish, very cool looking. I'm into it, and we're not going to get it until 23. So you know, first glimpse at a cool looking thing, and I'm excited to keep an eye on it. Yeah,
I like trailers like this that are just like, here's sort of the vibe of the game, and you'll learn more in a year. So
the thing is, like, you could tell that it wasn't just like all cinematics. Like there was definitely some gameplay in there, which is always my thing. Like I just give me a little bit of gameplay and I'll be happy. Even that Aliens, like almost Gauntlet style game from Summer Games Fest, like I was placated by the literally 4 seconds of gameplay that was at the end of that like 5-minute trailer.
Also, if there's any team that is able to blend cinema or cinematics with gameplay, it's the Sayonara Wild Hearts team. So like, you know, it's hard to distinguish even just from watching.
So similar thing. Very One of my favorite games ever was Sayonara Wild Hearts. So I'm just like on board for whatever they're doing next. After that, Super Bomberman R2. I'm really interested in Bomberman as like a competitive game, which seems to be like where they've taken that franchise at this point. People seem to like it a lot. I don't know if this is for me, but it does look really cute, really fun. I love the visual style. Like I really do think it looks beautiful. But I had enough Bomberman on the Game Boy, like way back when. Like I kind of like Bombermaned myself out.
I got into Bomberman when it was in the N64 era, where they were really trying to make it like a single player adventure game, which I have very fond memories of, but I truly couldn't tell you if it was good. Like I remember it as being so mysterious, and like I remember the worlds being really cool. Like again, the design is always on point, but I think Bomberman has always shined as a multiplayer experience. So I'll probably pick this up. I think I'm always like, whenever there's like a clear party game or local multiplayer game on the Switch, I usually will get it. Yeah. Because I love having that stuff ready.
Yeah. After that, a thing I really was not expecting at all, but I'm really interested in, Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, which is including all 10 Mega Man Battle Network games. Isn't that amazing?
Every time I learn about a new Mega Man game, I find out there's a whole like series that I didn't know existed.
Yeah. A lot of them on the DS that we didn't even talk about. They weren't great. But Mega Man Battle Network, on the other hand, I did bring to the Game Boy Advance episode. It didn't make my top 10, but I did really enjoy the first two specifically. But then, there were literally 8 more, and I was like, I don't know if I can do all that. I just kind of wanted to get the vibe for the series. But I remember in that episode saying, like, I'm amazed that these games haven't been ported forward, and I'm amazed that nobody is like just trying to rip it off, which then you found, what was that game called?
One Step from Eden.
One Step from Eden, which not a rip-off, to be clear. I'm not trying to dunk on that game. People like it a lot. You enjoyed it enough.
Yeah, it was like a spiritual revival of this style of game. I mean, there's a huge community for specifically this series. Yeah. So I think it's exciting that, it's now on Switch, so it's more easily available. Yeah.
I'm very interested in this coming out. I might pick it up and like actually give them a shot again. I could see myself doing that. Just if you haven't played Mega Man Battle Network, it's like a kind of competitive tactics game in a way where you play as a kid who has Mega Man like on a flash drive, and you just like plug the flash drive into different computers and fight other people on the internet. It's really silly. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like Pokemon almost, but like it's a grid battles with cards. There's a pretty big learning curve, but there's also very few games like this, so I think that's why it has such a devoted following.
Totally. Once you get over that hump of learning how the game works, it's really interesting. It's really cool. Speaking of the era where everyone was trying to take their 2D mascot and turn it into a big kind of jump around platforming game in the vein of a Super Mario 64, Pac-Man World, a game from, I believe, 1999 for the PlayStation 1, is getting remastered in a version that's called Pac-Man World Re-Pac for the Nintendo Switch. I don't know. I don't know.
I think I rented this game when I had like strep throat as a kid. Like I actually didn't even know this truly existed. So I'm just like, wow, this wasn't a dream. Yeah. I have no idea if it's good or not. If it is, that's awesome. I don't want to write it off. But I have no idea if there's any iconic video game character who maybe doesn't need a 3D world. It's Pac-Man. The dude lives in a maze. But I do think this is cool. I mean, again, I'm always in favor, even if it's not something that I know of or want. I'm always in favor of older games being re-released and ported forward, as you said.
Me too. Yeah. This just reminds me of another game that I really wish more people knew about and were talking about all the time, which is Pac-Man 2. They made a sequel to Pac-Man for the Sega Genesis. It was called The New Adventures, and it was like a side-scrolling, like almost point-and-click adventure game where you're playing as Pac-Man, like in town. And it is horrifying, and I loved it when I was a kid. So hopefully Pac-Man World Re-Pac also.
This might be for you.
Yeah. Honestly, I do think this is a thing that I might end up checking out. It's coming out August 26th, so summer Pac-Man and Monster Hunter.
Summer
only
Pac-Man.
those two.
Yeah.
After that was a game called Blanc, which is about a fox and a deer in the winter trying to get home, or trying to, like, I think just survive, it seems like. Has local and online co-op, which I think is important. Really beautiful art style, kind of all hand-drawn, like pencils and inks kind of blended, totally monochromatic. Looks really nice. It's in that vein of, I feel like, this isn't the first one, obviously, but I feel like Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, kind of like created this whole cottage industry of indie games that are just about cooperation and puzzle solving, specifically like on the couch together. And honestly, cool. more of that.
Yeah.
More couch co-op.
I would love to see
for
this.
the Switch.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Always good. That's coming in 2023, so still a ways off. I imagine we'll see more about that eventually. After that, Return to Monkey Island, which is a kind of big one. It's coming this year, which is also kind of a big deal. Because that got announced semi-recently, and people like couldn't believe that it had been announced at all in the first place. I think it is, if I recall correctly, like the team and creators behind the original getting the IP back and like continuing it on. And it looks great. It looks like Monkey Island. If you like Monkey Island, you're probably going to like this. And you're probably already excited and have pre-ordered it.
Yeah, I feel like Monkey Island is something that I am sure I would love if I had experience with it. I just like missed that era of point and click because I had such a shitty computer growing up that I didn't have like any of these games. So I had like a shared like 2003 desktop with my whole family that was like always not working.
Yeah.
But I feel like in tone and in spirit, like I love. I mean, because this is Tim Schafer, right? This is like really early. Like what would eventually become Double Fine stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if Tim Schafer worked on these games specifically. I think they were like maybe pre-Tim Schafer LucasArts.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But that franchise has changed hands so many times. Like I don't even know the lineage, and I'm kind of with you where I've always been on the periphery of Monkey Island. I've never actually engaged with the franchise. And I've always wanted to. I mean, there are a whole suite of games from that era, especially the LucasArts games. That I've always wanted to check out. I've been thinking about playing the Indiana Jones adventure game forever, The Fate of Atlantis. But maybe if we do some kind of like deep dive into that kind of stuff, we'll check out Monkey Island. But anyway, this looks exciting. I wonder if I need to play the first one before I play this.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Or the first two, I guess. I think there were two before this. But anyway,
yeah,
that's Return to Monkey Island. It's coming out this year, sooner than I was expecting, definitely. Because the announcement for it was very vague. Also, it was like the guy I think who created Monkey Island was like, "I'm back. Here it is. I'm doing it." And that was like it. To know it's that far along is really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, it looks great.
After that, a thing that I mentioned already, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, sequel to, I think it was called Kingdom Battle was the first one. It's coming on October 20th. And also tomorrow, as of the time of this recording, they're doing a separate direct just about this game.
Just for Sparks of Hope. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is like sort of XCOM adjacent somehow. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't play the first one, right?
No, you brought it to the show. I had no idea what it was, and you were so excited to explain to me that it is XCOM.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard great things. People really like this game and this series, I guess.
Yes. This game, the first one, is awesome. I highly recommend it. I feel like a lot of people wrote it off just because of the Rabbids of it all, which I'll be clear, I also did that initially. And it took a lot of people recommending it to me for me to be like, all right, I relent. I'll give it a shot. It also goes on sale very frequently. So just like keep an eye on Deku deals or something and see if you can get the first one on sale. You will have a great time, like a really good time. It's really fun.
It's like a Henry Hatsworth scenario where the cover looks like, some bargain bin game that you got by accident.
Right.
But it's actually great.
Yeah. So I'm excited for the sequel.
Excited to see. Yeah. Me too.
After that was a game. This one I think is really interesting. It came out today. It's a game called Little Noah, Scion of Paradise. It looks like a kind of side scroller beat 'em up. It reminds me a little bit of Aiden Chronicles.
Oh yeah.
That like kind of side quel Aiden Chronicles game that I had played. Just in terms of the way the combat looks. This is by a team called Psy Games, who worked with Nintendo to make Dragalia Lost on mobile.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And it seems like, I guess they like have their own thing that they're working on, and it's out today. I don't really know a lot about it outside of I think it launched for like $15, so it's like kind of a no-brainer if you like this kind of combat to at least like give it a shot. I will probably wait and see what people think about it before I dip in, but I did really like the look of the combat. It looks really smooth. A team like Psy Games, who made Dragalia Lost, which I think was one of the best. I remember the feel of that game was really strong for iOS. I'm wondering what would happen if they're, not making a game riddled with in-app purchases that's available on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, I wonder if this is Nintendo kind of like giving that team a chance to sort of like join the first party team in some way,
they're just kind of like floating around for a while.
Yeah, like here, like make a game for the Switch and we'll see what goes on. Yeah. But who knows?
Yeah. After that is a game called Railgrade, which honestly just looks like a kind of train management sim. You're just like building a lot of railways. Comes out this fall.
I think I had to take NJ Transit for so much of my life that I'm over trains, even in a fantasy world. Like, I just don't care about trains in any way.
Yeah.
I'm sure this is like someone's ambrosia. If you're a big train fan,
Totally.
oh yeah, Railgrade is the game of the year. But for me, I've been Secaucus Junctioned out of my mind, so I don't need any more trains. Thank you.
I'll say on my end, this is not my style of game. I do play a lot of stuff like this when I can. Definitely less so more recently because the Mac just doesn't have access to a lot of it. But I've been really interested in a lot of these kind of like games that feel like they should have launched on PC, launching on Switch instead. So this is another one where I'm just kind of sit back and see how it performs and see.
Jokes aside, I do like sim games, and I also like have a place in my heart for sim games that are about something I have no interest in. So like I've heard great things about a lot of the various like truck driver sims that like sound incredibly boring on paper, but people are like, this is so relaxing. It's something I look forward to all day. So I'm sure this is kind of in that realm.
Yeah. After this was a game that you shouted out to me, which is RPG Time: The Legend of Wright, which looks great.
Yeah, it comes out in August. I really love the look of this. So this is like a lot of games have done this where like the aesthetic is sort of like in a notebook. There was another game somewhat recently that I forgot the name of it, but it seems to be borrowing the central mechanic from Link Between Worlds.
Yeah, The Plucky Squire was the name of it.
The Plucky Squire. You're like a hand-drawn, or you're a character from like a pop-up book that like leaves the book and then can interact like with the room as an environment, but you're still operating on like a 2D surface sometimes. So this is like an RPG where you're like in someone's notebook, and it sort of looks like what like your D&D notebook would look like in middle school or high school if you were like a really good artist.
Not so dissimilar from Teen Girl Squad.
Right. It has that, which is probably why I like it. But big Homestar Runner fan.
Yeah.
But I'm really interested in what this is and how it plays. I think it could be a really fun time. I don't know. I need more information, obviously, but I like the premise and I like the look of it. So we'll see.
Yeah, it does. I think you're right in bringing up Plucky Squire. It kind of looks like that, but without jumping out of the notebook. But you are still using things outside of the notebook to your advantage. Things like the calculator they showed off. They were like, you're going to need to use the calculator sometimes. And it's literally just like a calculator somebody put on top of the book.
What I learned from my limited time with Baldur's Gate 3 in early access is that I like when RPGs drop the veneer. So like in Baldur's Gate 3, they show you the dice rolls. So like when you try, so many like BioWare games and Western RPGs like disguise like dice rolls as other things, and I kind of like the game just being like, you're actually rolling a dice.
It's just dice,
and you're gonna see. And I feel like this game is that like times 10, where it's like, this is actually the RPG experience, but we're gonna give you like what your brain would imagine in these nice illustrations.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
Cool.
Citizen Sleeper is available now on Switch and Xbox.
Oh man, I love that game. Just another plug for Citizen Sleeper. It deserves even more attention than it
fit it in
has.
wherever we can. Anyway, that's RPG Time: The Legend of Wright. It comes out August 18th, so pretty soon. So we'll get to see how that works. The next one I don't want to focus on too much, but it was Sonic Frontiers. This was more of an announcement that like, yes, it is coming to Switch. It's coming at the end of the year. You and I both agree it doesn't look great. I think that's kind of the main conceit that everyone has
sad.
After the takeaway from the like, there was like a kind of prolonged month-long IGN look at this game, and I feel like every video was like, oof.
Yeah, I my heart goes out to Sonic fans. I feel like, this on paper sounds like a really exciting thing, and who knows, maybe it's going to be great. We haven't played the game,
right?
But I just feel like I've seen this discussion online a lot where like the idea of a Sonic open world game I think could be really fun.
Yeah.
But the environment they chose is like, it doesn't have to be a gloomy open wilderness Shadow of Colossus land. Like it can be like, to me,
vibrant and cool.
Sonic,
look at like Mario Odyssey, things like that.
Right. Yeah. Like I think there's a way to do this well. And that's the eternal curse of Sonic, where there's always a better idea and they keep trying.
Yeah. I also just want to be clear. I don't think, just because I just threw that out, I don't think it's easy to like hit the same visual highs as Mario Odyssey, but like I do agree with you that there's this version of the kind of like Unreal Engine 5 open world that is a little bit of a bummer to see Sonic exist within.
Yeah, it looks like, visually it looks like someone modded Sonic into another game that existed. So it doesn't really fit, but I mean, again, if you're excited for it, that's cool. I'm hoping that it's good for someone. I'm not very interested in it.
Yeah, I do feel like every time there's a Sonic announcement, everyone is just like, please let this be the good one. Everyone wants Sonic to win, is the thing.
That's where I'm at. I'm rooting for Sonic, and I hope he gets through this.
On the other end, he's got a very successful movie franchise to worry about.
That's true.
So,
yeah,
Sonic's killing it in some way, shape, or form.
He's back.
The next one I can't talk about too much just because of the Disney of it all. Worth mentioning, I work for Marvel Entertainment. Anything I say and do does not represent the views of my employer or its parent company, the Walt Disney Company. But there's a game called Disney Dreamlight Valley that's coming out. It looks like a life sim that has like Disney and Pixar characters in it. Comes out September 6th. I might check it out. Who knows? We'll see. After that was Live Alive, a game that is coming out very soon, about a month from now. This is a HD 2D remake of a game from, what year was it?
1994 or 5.
Yeah.
I think 1994, yeah.
This is a game that never made it to the United States. People never thought that it would come to the United States. There have been fan translations out there, and yet here we are with a full-scale remake, which honestly, they've been promoting a lot, like enough that I think this game might be great. And I'm curious to see what's going on here. There's a demo that came out today. I've already downloaded it. I'm excited to play it, but I'm really curious why they've been promoting this as heavily as they have, unless they're like really confident that it's going to be killer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is the case, but it definitely looks like, at least visually, the same team that does like Octopath and Triangle Strategy.
It's got
and
that
both
energy.
those games, both those games on a mechanical level at least were great. Narratively hit and miss. But like the way those games played was really good. And I mean, this is another thing where it's just cool that it exists. I don't know, like I'm kind of on the fence in terms of like if I'm gonna definitely get it. I think I need to kind of wait and see a little bit. I'm not really sure why. It might just be because I have such a cosmic attachment to Chrono Trigger, where I'm like, who's this? Who's this time traveling multi-historical era RPG?
Yeah.
But it definitely seems to be going after a different tone, and like from what I know of the game, it's very different in terms of like how the story functions and all that. So I'm definitely very curious about it, but I kind of want to wait and see before I get it.
Interesting. Yeah, this feels like such a slam dunk for you. I'm wondering if it's just like something in your subconscious that's like, don't get too into this yet. Wait until it's out.
Yeah, you're definitely right. Sometimes my brain's like, you can be chill about something. Maybe this is maybe be chill about Live Alive before it comes out.
Yeah. One of the things is that this is a like hugely beloved game too. Like this is a game that people have wanted ported or localized for a really long time because it is considered like a lost classic from that era.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Mother 3 scenario for a lot of people, I imagine.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably the easiest connection. Totally. I totally agree with you. So interested in that. As I said, downloaded the demo. It's available now. Side note, Nintendo redid their website. You can just download shit to your Switch from their website now. You don't have to go through the eShop, which is a nightmare every time I have to open it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I wish there was like a coming soon, or no, it was new releases, but it's just like every new release. Yeah. It's very hard to navigate.
Yeah. So now you don't have to do that if you go to Nintendo.com. Plug for Nintendo.com. Check it out. This is a cool website.
Hell yeah.
After that was Doraemon Story of Seasons, Friends of the Great Kingdom. Doraemon is a long-standing cartoon anime in Japan. This is seems like a farming sim, like actually kind of Story of Seasons, like crossover situation, which is I think like the new version of Harvest Moon, right? Is Story of Seasons.
Yeah,
it's
it's confusing. At one point there was like a split off, and I think the Harvest Moon team went to do Rune Factory.
Yeah.
And then Harvest Moon became Story of Seasons in the West.
The people who like still had the rights to Harvest Moon continued making them under the Story of Seasons moniker.
Right. And then there's also like new Harvest Moon games that feel unrelated somehow. So it's kind of a mess.
So weird, yeah.
Which is why we got Stardew Valley, because someone was like, I'm stepping in. I can't watch this anymore. I'm going to make the next one. Thank you.
Yeah, this is, it looks really cute. If you're a Doraemon fan, probably a slam dunk for you. After that was Minecraft Legends, a game that they showed, this is really interesting to me. They showed this game off during the Xbox event and said like, hey, here's a new kind of game with the Minecraft IP. They said it's almost an RTS action game and didn't really show enough of it for me to get any understanding of what that game was. This is one of the rare instances in which the Nintendo Direct showed me more information where I was like, oh, I know what this game is now, and I'm interested in it. Minecraft is one of those weird things where like that IP is so huge and Microsoft paid so much money for it that I'm always curious, like, what are you going to do with this?
Yeah.
So this is a situation where I will probably play it on Game Pass. But if it's anything like, was it Minecraft Dungeons, I might end up picking it up on Switch if I like it enough on Game Pass.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is another thing where I need to know more information. I enjoyed Minecraft Dungeons for a passing moment. But I'm not a big enough Steve fan to like be in on this day one. So wait and see. Yeah.
Yeah. That's coming in 2023. So it's going to be a while anyway, regardless of how it is. After that, started blaring the Dragon Quest music.
Yes.
I love this too. You should go, if you haven't watched this direct mini, like definitely go check this part out in particular, because they were playing the Dragon Quest music so loud that the narrator had to like yell over it. It's really like, and he's like his mic is clipping, and like it like barely audible over the Dragon Quest music. But anyway, they showed off Dragon Quest Treasures, which is a game that we were told by Yuji Horii during Dragon Quest Day in May that we were going to be hearing more about this soon. And we sure did. It's coming out this year, December 9th. The big thing that's worth mentioning about this game is that this is a spin-off of Dragon Quest XI. You're playing as Eric and his sister. Eric, one of the main characters of Dragon Quest XI, to be clear. But it is a prequel when they were both like pirates/Vikings traveling the world looking for treasure. The thing about this game, though, is that it had been rumored to be in development for a really, really, really long time as a new Dragon Quest Monsters game, which is more of like a monster collecting kind of Pokemon adjacent thing. And I think people were really curious what this game was going to look like because we hadn't seen any gameplay at all. And like, how do you actually make your way around this world? And guess what? It looks a lot like Dragon Quest Monsters, honestly, just with a different name. And I'm fully into that. That sounds great to me.
I'm really excited for this. I screamed Eric out loud when it came on, so I'm not chill about this one. I mean, we talked about this before, but I feel like if there's any like more story to split off from Dragon Quest XI, it is Eric and Mia's like childhood.
Yeah.
It sounds so fun. You know, I mean, just on paper, it's like, okay, you're traveling the world looking for treasure with Vikings or pirates or both. And I think it's cool. I mean, I'm interested to see how it works mechanically. Like you said, it looks like Dragon Quest Monsters. It seems to like involve monsters in some way, because you're like riding around on like the saber-toothed tiger that's like prominently in Dragon Quest V. And like there seems to be at least like an interaction with them. So I am curious like how they play into the collection aspect. And as we've also said very often, like pretty much every Dragon Quest spinoff is at least great. I have not played a bad one. Like they're all really good. Rocket Slime, one day we'll play the Young Yangus spinoff that kind of haunts us.
I gotta play that thing.
Yeah, I gotta notice what it is. But I think this is gonna be a lot of fun. Dragon Quest Builders, I think, is probably the most like I could point to that as proof of the spinoff success. Like that game. Speaking of Minecraft, that game is like, I've never really like cared about Minecraft, to be honest. Like I'm comfortable just being like, that's not for me. That's cool.
Right.
It's for plenty of other people. But Dragon Quest Builders kind of gave me a taste of like what people like from that series in a way that I got to really enjoy. I think I just had like a narrative hook that I really got into. So I'm really excited to see what this is.
Yeah, I feel like your feeling about Dragon Quest Builders is very similar to how I feel about Starfield already, where it's like,
interesting.
Your take on Dragon Quest Builders is like, I like the idea of Minecraft, but I can never get into it. But giving me a little bit more direction, a little bit more of that, like, you know, Toriyama, Yuji Horii flair is the reason that I'm continuing to play this thing that I don't know is like super engaging mechanically, but like you still want to see more of it because you love those characters. I feel very similarly about Starfield versus No Man's Sky, where it's like, if you just give me a little bit more of that Bethesda quest stuff, then I can get into this, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, we'll see.
But anyway, Dragon Quest Treasures this year, very excited. This does feel a little bit also kind of like a monkey's paw curling situation, where like every time I see more Dragon Quest that isn't Dragon Quest X offline, I'm like, we're not going to get that, are we? It seems so obvious that would be a thing that would come out here. Like, why else would you make Dragon Quest X offline? And yet we haven't heard anything about it, so who knows? But here's this. This
comes out on December 9th, so end of the year. So look at Elden Ring. It's going to sneak in last minute number one.
After that, the Portal Companion Collection, which we heard about at a direct earlier this year, the same month, I think, that we did our Portal 1 and 2 bonus.
Yeah.
They announced this completely out of nowhere and just said it's coming summer 2022. So didn't know when it was going to come out. And guess what? Here it is. It's out. It's out right now.
We can take full responsibility for this.
I think we can.
I feel comfortable doing so.
Yeah.
I mean, this is awesome. Like Portal 1 and 2 are both like I think some of the best games ever.
Yeah.
And now you can play them on Switch. And I think that's sick.
This also, to be totally honest, this is like a really kind of cheap game as well. I was on the eShop. This collection is $15, which is
that's so worth
like
it.
a steal for these two games. It's also like a pretty complete version of both of them. The only thing it's missing, which is funny, are apparently, I didn't even know this existed, but for the port of the Portal games to PlayStation 3, they added specific PlayStation Move levels if you had PlayStation Move, which is very funny. That's the only thing that's not available in here. Everything else, like the console specific relaunch bonus levels are all in here. It adds motion controls if you're using the Switch. Cool stuff. I'm stoked about it. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching the Switch version right now. So cool.
I love Portal, but I wish I was a big enough Portal fan to find PlayStation Move just to say I've seen it all, you know?
Yeah. But one day you and I will get Steam Decks and then we'll be able to play, what is that called? Portal Desk or Aperture Desk Job, I think.
Oh yeah. That's the Steam Deck exclusive, right?
Yeah.
So
I want to check that out at some point in my life. But anyway, the Portal Companion Collection is out now. Interestingly, I've already downloaded it before we started recording this. Interestingly, it downloads as two separate games. It's not just like one thing, so you can jump into Portal or Portal 2. So
nice,
just worth it.
I already want to play them again.
Yeah,
even just hearing it out loud.
Yeah, honestly, I did a full Let's Play of both of those games before we did our bonus that you can find also on our YouTube. But I was amazed at how quickly I flew through those games, and I wonder how quickly I could do it again, having just played them this year.
I believe in you. I think you got it.
Yeah. After that was an announcement that I am like totally all about. It's a game from Square Enix called Harvestella, which the thing that I texted you immediately about this was it looks like somebody at Square Enix got their hands on Rune Factory 5 on the Switch and was like, I'm going to make my own.
Is it, what if this had a budget?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real. You and I like Rune Factory 5. I think don't love Rune Factory 5. Like it's a pretty competent version of taking the idea of Rune Factory and putting it in a full 3D space. But Harvestella just looks like what Rune Factory 5 should have been, unfortunately.
I feel bad saying it 'cause I feel like, I mean, the elephant in the room is like the company that makes Rune Factory like declared bankruptcy and then came back to make Rune Factory 5. So like I don't want to like kick them while they're down. Like I'm rooting for them to like get back, on their feet. Yeah. And it does suck that a giant company can just like, I mean, the thing is like the idea of making like a RPG farm sim, that's just so everywhere that I don't think anyone can claim it at this point.
Yeah, we've already talked about 3 other ones in this direct.
I do think though that like I have now at this point played Rune Factory 3, 4, and 5. 3 and 5 for a little bit and 4 for like a decent amount of time. And even though like I think 3 and 4 are definitely like fully fledged like good games, there is always this feeling of like, oh man, like on paper this is so cool, but it's not really hooking me. Like there's always a little bit of distance I have from like, just the idea of like, okay, it's a life sim, you're in a town, you're making friends, you have like a sense of home to take care of, but there's also this JRPG plot happening. I think that's such a cool idea, and this game definitely seems to be making it higher stakes. What I do like about Rune Factory is that it is kind of low stakes, at least for a while. So like my dream is like you're not even the hero, like you're just actually like someone who runs a tavern and is like, I heard there's a dragon like over there, but I'm cool. I would love to really like just have me exist within this world, not even be the person who shapes it. But that's very much just me. So I think this is really cool. I'm excited to play it. I think you're right that this is like, let's take that idea and really run with it. And like, it seems to be, I would guess, focused more on the JRPG side of things, given that it's Square, but I'm interested in that loop. I mean, that's what I love about games like Three Houses and Persona, having that like, okay, this is the sort of action-y game part where it's more combat focused, and that is aided by the other half. So there's like a really nice loop there where each half kind of complements the other. Whereas I feel like when Rune Factory, a lot of times I just felt like I had 18 things to do and I didn't really know what would inform the other. I'm curious how this game will roll with all those pieces. Yeah.
This is coming out this year also, it's worth mentioning. It's coming out in November
4th.
Which I'm really excited about. It looks absolutely stunning. Just
it looks beautiful,
like visually gorgeous. I wonder if this is going to be a Switch exclusive. I could see this being another thing that Square Enix is going to put on other platforms. So we'll see if it pops up elsewhere. My last point about this that I would say is I'm really just glad that we're in this era of Square Enix taking a bunch of chances.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like, for so long, Square Enix was just kind of like resting on their laurels with Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, and that was kind of it. Trying some stuff with more Western studios, things like Tomb Raider, Hitman, etc., that they just like kind of dumped eventually. But it's nice to know that like internally at Square Enix, they still are putting money towards exploring smaller ideas like this and dungeon encounters and things like that.
And even even with FF7, they're like taking wild chances with the remake.
Right.
Not to say too much on that, but like even with their own kind of like high priority stuff. There's like even something as silly as Jack, in Stranger of Paradise. That is just like, okay, cool. That exists too. Right. We're getting all shapes and sizes here.
Yeah. They really are exploring things from every angle, big to small. I mean, you're totally right.
Yeah.
Like even in the AAA space, they're doing some really wild shit. But it's cool to see smaller projects like this and Dungeon Encounters still coming out like at a pretty fast clip, and usually when they get announced they're like almost done, which is also very cool. So weird interesting era of Square Enix we're in right now, and I'm really stoked about it.
Yeah, me too.
The final announcement.
Here we go.
I fully lost my mind when I saw this.
Me too. Yeah.
I'll say the first bit. What happened right at the top is red screen, take your heart, Phantom Thieves logo, and then Morgana jumped down and was like, hey, what's up? I'm Morgana from Persona 5. Persona 5 Royal is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Again, not as a cloud version, which also means you can get a physical copy for those of you out there, collectors who are excited and have also been waiting for this forever. But I was nervous about this one in particular, and I'm glad that they started with it, because after the Xbox event where they announced that you were getting 3, 4, and 5 on there, my thought was that like the best we might get on Switch is 3 and 4. I was not really expecting 5 to happen. I didn't think they were actually going to...
And 5 Royal, specifically.
Yeah.
I thought maybe Vanilla 5.
Yeah, you and I think we're preparing for like 100 ways that this could go wrong. Hypothetically, it's like you only get Persona 5. You don't get Persona 5 Royal. Maybe it's only a cloud version.
You get Persona 1, and it's $70 for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah. And yet, here we are. Persona 5 Royal. Weirdly enough, the first one that's coming out on October 21st.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the big one. And that's also one, I mean, for the last 5 years, you just couldn't play Persona 5 or Persona 5 Royal unless you had a PS4.
Right.
And I know so many people who are destined to become huge fans of this game that have yet to play it because they couldn't. I think the big first step, and this has been the joke. I mean, Atlas is kind of weird about their stuff coming out. Like it will come out on the Dreamcast, and then like 7 years later it will be like temporarily on the Android App Store, and that's it. Like this doesn't make any sense. And these games are like, still 3, 4, and 5 are still so beloved and still so desired, and 4 Golden coming out on Steam and just doing so well. I think like that. I think even though Atlas has sometimes missed the mark, like that had to be enough data where they're like, okay, people still want these games.
Yeah. How long have we been filling out that fucking survey on their website?
Right.
Like it's been like years of that goof.
I was convinced Switch was just going to get Persona Q2 New Cinema Labyrinth, and then no one would buy it, and they go, well, no one really wants it on the Switch, I guess.
No one even likes
that
the Switch
one.
Weird.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is really exciting. I also have never played Persona 4 Golden. I played the original Persona 4 on PS2.
Yeah.
Actually, before we even right before we started the show, that was when I was getting really into Persona. So I was sort of prepping. I had like a vision of what was to come. I've never played Persona 4 Golden, which is like the definitive sort of remake of it on the Vita. And it was only on the Vita until last year.
Yeah.
So, and then Persona 3, you could really only get either on a PSP or on a PS2. So that's also huge. I'm really glad. I mean, I had a feeling that, in all of Atlas's marketing and all of the, like the 20, I think it's 25th, or whatever the anniversary of Persona is this year, they lump all 3 together. They always kind of include the blue, yellow, and red palettes in some way. Mm-hmm. So I figured like they weren't just going to leave 3 in the dust. So I'm really glad it's here. It is the portable version, which is interesting. And it's not clear, because these are all called remasters on the website. And just from the quick reel of like content, there seems to be like some new presentation for certain things, and also just like new like areas that I've never seen before. So it seems like there might be some new content. And what I wonder about that for Persona 3 Portable is like, is this Persona 3 Portable plus the parts of Fez that were missing in the original Persona 3 Portable?
Yeah. I'm so curious what that final package is going to look like. That's the one that they're definitely being the cagiest on at the moment. I feel like Persona 4 Golden, because that's already been ported to PC, for example, we kind of already have an idea of what that is going to be. Seems to just be Persona 4 Golden, but, you know, ported, which is great. But Persona 3 has always been this like weird kind of amorphous, what are they going to do with it? And honestly, I'm excited to play it on the Switch. I think portable is, you know, not the worst move in the world. I've played enough of the PS2 version at this point that I like it a lot. But, you know, Persona 3 Portable is still like a totally viable way of playing that game.
The thing is, the things that are missing from Persona 3 Portable are the cutscenes and the environments, which are, I think, the easier things to add to Portable than what you would need to add to Fez. Because if it was advertised as Fez, it would be a whole new character. Yeah. And the ability to control the party. Honestly, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
Like in Persona 3 Fez, AI controlled your party mates, which honestly isn't as bad as it sounds, but it's definitely not preferable. Like there's no real benefit to that.
Yeah.
Especially when there's bosses where you die if you attack them and you just can't tell your party to not attack. That took me a long time to deal with that boss. So yeah. I think if you had to choose one, I think this does, even if it's just like Persona 3 Portable as it was, it's still great that more people can play Persona 3, because that is I think, you know, the least known of these three.
Yeah.
And it's right up there with the rest. They all really have their own, they each have their own identity. Each of them are focused on different themes, and I think like I would say like just as a game, Persona 5 Royal plays the best, but I think you can choose any one of these as like your favorite, and that will be right to you. You know?
Totally. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, we know enough people who are fans of each of the three of them. I think between us, there really is no consensus. What I will say, I'm interested in the fact that the only one with a date right now is Persona 5 Royal. And I'm wondering, because they say that 4 Golden and 3 Portable are coming quote unquote soon. I'm wondering if soon means before the October 21st release date of Persona 5, or if that's coming afterwards.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if a weird Atlas thing, maybe, but I kind of would understand this move. I would understand if they put out Persona 5 Royal first, because that's, I would say, the easiest one to get into of the three of them. Like if I was to recommend somebody get into Persona right now, the one I would recommend is Persona 5 Royal, probably.
Totally. Yeah.
So I feel like releasing that first would be the obvious, like, let's get people into the franchise. And then, you know, a couple months later, after they've completely devoured that game as quickly as they've devoured their favorite meal, we'll give them more, throw some more scraps out for them to just
That's
eat off
what
the
I
floor.
did. Yeah. I finished Persona 5 when it came out in 2 weeks, which was like unhealthy.
Yeah.
I remember being like up until 6 a.m. Like I couldn't put it down.
Yeah.
And then I bought 4 for my PS2 and did the same thing with that.
Yeah.
Then I needed a break. Then I was like, that's too much. I close my eyes and I see demons. I need to move on.
Yeah.
But I also wonder too, like, I don't think they're all in one package. So I think that maybe another reason they're separating them is like Persona 5 Royal. If they were all released at the same time, they kind of might like overshadow each other. Like maybe most people would just get 5 and ignore the other 2.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's like, okay, like let 5 breathe, like get the attention it will get. And then we'll have like the opening act come on after. You know, people will be like, oh, what's this deal with 3 or what's the deal with 4? And I've already finished 5 twice. I guess I should play the other ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool.
The thing I thought was really interesting about the Persona 5 Royal announcement was I didn't think that it would ever happen until I played Persona 5 Strikers. And Persona 5 Strikers is actually such a strong visual recreation of the look of Persona 5 running on the Switch. And in some cases, because of the fact that it's a Musou game and there's like 100 enemies on screen at once, is like actually even more, it seems like, technically demanding than the base game Persona 5 does. So I always thought that it was like maybe in the cards, but I was still, just because of how Atlas works, not really expecting it. So I'm really stoked to see this happen. It felt like a maybe possibility, and knowing that it's coming is really great. And the other 2 is just like icing on the cake, because, you know, as much as we talk about Persona on this fucking show, I've never finished any of them, and I've always wanted to. And I always felt like I was just waiting for a Switch port. That was always going to be the thing that was going to get me to do it. The other thing that was going to maybe get me to finish Persona 4 was getting a Steam Deck. And here we are. I have the OLED Switch and Persona 4 Golden. I mean, that's just the Vita 2, baby.
That really is. Yeah. I mean, that was actually like my fallback if this didn't happen was the Steam Deck. It's like, okay, I can at least play for Persona 4 because it's the only one I haven't played. I haven't played the Golden version of it.
Right.
So very excited. Which one do you think you are going to try to finish of the 3?
All? I'd like to finish. I'd like to actually finish all of them now.
I think it's worth it. I definitely think you should space them out, and I think three I would be in an okay place before you play. I mean, they all deal with heavy themes, but 3 especially.
Yeah,
it's noticeably darker, like immediately.
Yeah,
than the other 2.
I've played enough of 3 to know what's going on there. It's pretty dark. Anyway,
and not in a totally like edgelord way. It is a heavy game.
Yeah,
but anyway,
hey, that's the event.
That's it.
It was great. It was a really, really stellar collection of stuff. For a partner direct without technically any first party stuff, I think that was like one of the strongest directs I've seen in a long time. So pretty stoked about it. Also, just kind of circling back to a bit that I had in the Summer Games kind of breakdown that we had on our Patreon feed. One of the things that really stuck out to me about that was this idea that there were like 5 or 6 kind of like survival horror set on a spaceship games all in a row at the top. Whereas like, if you're air traffic controlling, space those out throughout your 3-hour show. We got a lot of farming and life sims in this event, and they were spaced out enough that like I didn't care every time. I was like, cool,
exactly.
Yeah, that looks great. So I'm actually very excited about a lot of the farming and life sims in this event. And also, Pac-Man World Re-Pac.
I was going to say, thank you, Pac-Man World, for spacing out the farm sims.
Yeah.
A sentence I don't think has ever been said out loud. I'm with you. I mean, this is so exciting. I think, like, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I think Nintendo will probably have at least 1 or 2 more events before the end of the year. And I imagine that, they'll probably announce some stuff coming out, like, early next year. But in terms of their lineup for, like, the latter half of 2022, I mean, we have Splatoon coming out in September, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in July, and then Pokemon at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So that combined with all this third-party stuff now, like they've got a pretty set stack there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think usually there's like 2 first-party games that end the year. I do think that like it's clear they've been set back a little bit because usually there's like the first-party game and the third-party game at the end of the year. And like for the last couple of years, I think Pokemon has kind of been holding the fort of like, okay, we'll throw out a new one in November while you work on Zelda. So, we'll see what happens like with their first party stuff next year.
Yeah.
I imagine that it will be a larger year for them on that front.
Yeah. I also wouldn't be surprised if they filled in the blanks a little bit. I mean, we've been hearing rumors about the Metroid Prime remaster coming. I feel like the constant rumor for like at least 1.5 to 2 years at this point has been a Twilight Princess and Wind Waker re-release for the Switch as well. So
I'd be so excited for that. Yeah.
I think you're right. With this amount of third-party support, plus like a couple GameCube Wii re-releases on the Switch, along with a new Pokemon game at the end of the year, like that's a pretty strong lineup, I think, for the holiday season for the Switch. But who knows? Maybe there's another surprise we don't even know about that's gonna pop up.
Yeah, and then there's always like indie stuff happening, independent of these announcements. So.
Yeah. James Cameron's Donkey Kong's coming soon to the Nintendo
Switch. On that note, want to wrap up?
Yeah, let's wrap up. Hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for doing that. Like, comment, subscribe, baby. But if you're listening to this in the Patreon feed, thank you for backing on Patreon.
Thank you so much for your support. Yeah.
If you're watching this on YouTube and you're not backing on Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/intothecast. Thank you so much to everybody who's doing that. We can be found on intothecast.online. We got a lot of links all over the place. And my name is Brendan Bigley. You can find me on the internet at Brendan Bigley.
I'm Stephen Hilger. You can find me at Stephen Hilger. Have a wonderful day, Pac-Man.
Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.
Bye-bye.